Hi, this is Rachel with Fontaine Organizing. If you were like many people, you struggle each year to gather all of your tax documents, receipts, and other necessary paperwork for filing your taxes. Well, today in the United States is tax day. It's April 15th. And what I want to do is give you some ideas for making next tax season a little bit less stressful. I know that it can be stressful no matter what you do, but if you do a little bit of prep work now, it will make it a lot easier next year. So here are 6 tips for getting your taxes in order for next year. First one is to make a list. Since you just did your taxes or you're in the middle of doing them now, if you waited until the last second or if you're filing an extension, you're going to know exactly which documents you needed in order to file your taxes. It's going to be fresh in your mind. So make a list. It can be a handwritten list or it can be a typed list of all of the documents that you had to gather and find for this tax season. Those documents could include things like your W-4s for your employment or spouse's employment. It could include your mortgage statements or any other interest statements from the bank. It could include medical receipts if you had a lot of healthcare expenses for the current year or the past year. And it could include business expense receipts if you are either reimbursed for business expenses through your employer or if you have a sole proprietorship. Next step is going to be to label folders and envelopes, and you're going to label them with this current year for next year's taxes. So right now it is 2022, so you will make a folder that says taxes 2022. You can put that in a filing cabinet or in some sort of a file box if you have one of those around. You might need more than one folder if you end up with a lot of documents. You can look at this year's taxes to judge whether you need more than one folder. Typically, the only people who need more than one folder are those who have business expenses, rental properties, those types of things where you need the separation of the documents for when you're filing your taxes. Next, you're going to want to affix your list to the inside of the folder. So this way you will have a way to just check off what you need to have when you go to file your taxes next year. You won't have to think about it as much. You won't have to remember, oh, did I get this statement or am I waiting for a statement? You can just run down the list and see that you either have all the documents or have to request the documents from someone. The next step is to make these folders accessible. And you can put them on your desktop. You can put them in a file box somewhere in your office. They don't have to be readily available unless you get things like a lot of receipts, in which case you would want to keep an envelope on your desk to just tuck the receipts into as they come in. And then next step is to go digital, because so many of us get our receipts in digital format these days. They can get lost in email. You end up having to search for them. A lot of people don't bother to save them to their computers when they come in. So what I'd like you to do is make a file folder system in your computer or your digital device that mirrors the paper folder that you just set up. So in this case, you would have a parent folder that says taxes 2022. Underneath, you might have something that says personal taxes, and then another subfolder that says business taxes, if that's appropriate for you. And then when you get the emails in, you can save them right into that folder. And then finally, the most important part is to do regular filing. It takes just a moment to take that receipt and put it in the correct envelope, or take that file that you received in an email and save it to your computer. And it may feel like a hassle right now in the moment to do that, but it takes really just a fraction of a second. If you time yourself, it might take less than a second if you have the file on your desktop, and it might take less than a minute if you have to save it to your computer from your email. But those few seconds or minute that you have to spend now are going to save you immeasurable stress next year when you don't have to go searching for all of these documents. And it's going to be so tempting. I want you to remind yourself those seconds are worth it now so that you can be a lot less stressed next year. So I hope these tips were helpful. If you institute just 1 or 2 of these, it would be better than having to scramble and feel so stressed like you just can't get it done next year. And I hope that these are helpful to you in the year to come. I'm Rachel Fontaine with Fontaine Organizing.